today we are heading to the depths of South Dakota.
Ooh.
And I'm really excited for this. But first, past few weeks have taught me something about myself that I don't think anyone else in the world knows about.
Do I know?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm excited.
Yeah, don't be that excited, but I just thought it was funny. I have a very unnatural hatred to book jackets.
Oh my gosh. Book jackets.
Book jackets. I cannot stand the things. This is the Exploring the National Parks podcast with dirtinmyshoes. My name is Ash, and I'm a former park ranger and the founder of dirtinmyshoes. I think that the parks are best seen from the trail, and I'm here to make national park trip planning easy.
And I'm John. I carry the kids on the trails, I tell stories, and notice all the things that Ash doesn't care about much, like rocks.
Join us as we show you around America's spectacular national parks.
We're sharing our favorite places, fun facts, adventures, and misadventures.
And we'll even throw in a little trip planning.
Let's start exploring. For people who don't know what you're talking about, what is a book jacket, Ash?
Who doesn't know what a book jacket is? Okay, well, that's fair. Our son just asked me the other day what one was, because I was complaining about it. It's that covering that they put around the book. It's like the piece of paper that they put around the book.
Mm-hmm. Like if it's a hardcover
book, yeah. And I'm a voracious reader. I love reading. I'm rereading a series, but I just bought the whole series, and it's been sitting on my bookshelf, and I'm like, I'm going to read those books. And so it's like 8 books, and they all have dang book jackets. And the book jacket never stays on good. It always flaps around. And just like, there's a dislike, and then there's what I have, which is just that I want to take them all off and rip them all up into tiny pieces and burn them in the middle of my living room. Like, I hate them so much.
Oh my gosh. I did not know that about you.
I know.
Was middle school and high school really rough for you when your teachers made you make your own book jackets on the textbooks?
That's not a thing anymore. Oh my gosh. What's the point? Why not just like make the binding of the book have the name of the book and the picture of the book? Why do we have to have a jacket that doesn't stay on?
That is a really interesting way you've included us in your mind. Thank you for that.
I know. It's random, but I was giggling about it the other day because I was like, I don't think there's another person on the face of this earth who hates book jackets as much as I do.
I feel like I'm going to go downstairs every day now and like find the discarded book jacket and slip it back onto your book. because now that I recognize what's just happened and I understand.
He's been finding book jackets all over the house.
Oh, and I'm going to go put them back on the books just to bug you every time you pick up your book.
That would bug me. That would actually ruin my day. So thanks a lot. Anyway.
Okay, maybe I won't. But if we ever get in a fight, that's the first thing I'm going to do.
It will work. That would be a very good way to make me more upset. So anyway, but if there's anyone out there who hates book jackets as much as I do, DM me. Let me know. I would love to know if I'm alone in this.
Let's not do. That's one bad thing about the internet is people with weird things that make them angry all connecting. I think
we could start our own group.
Yeah. Let's
book jacket haters.
Someone should see if that exists already. That would be hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Oh man. So anyway, just for a good giggle, but I can feel it welling up in me how upset I am about book jackets. So,
do you think there is any good segue from what we just talked about to the national park?
No, but I started talking about the national. Well, kind of.
The depths of South Dakota,
yeah.
The depths of Ash's heart's hatred.
The depths of my despair. That's a Anne of Green Gables. And the depths of my despair. So, no, there's not a good segue. So, today we're talking about Wind Cave National Park in South Dakota.
Which is awesome.
And we're doing our exploring episodes that we're going to walk you through this national park and the different things you can do. It's a fairly small national park, so we don't have a ton of ground to cover here, but it's so worth the trip.
Oh,
I just say it's a little bit further off the beaten path than a lot of the stuff you might be coming to the Rapid City area to see. Because you're in the southern Black Hills, basically at the very bottom, to get to Wind Cave. And you don't need a ton of time here. And I talk about that a lot in the South Dakota itinerary on Dirt in My Shoes. So go pick that up so you can see kind of the timing of how much time are we spending in some of these smaller areas that you definitely don't want to miss, but that you don't need a ton of time for.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how many things are in this area that you can spend half a day to a day really enjoying and that are really cool.
It's become a family favorite vacation destination for us because there is so much to do. And it's not, just one thing for the whole time. It's like you have a half day here and another half day here and another, and there's just a lot you can add in between, and you can change it up every time. And so it never feels the same. And so that's why, for that reason, it's like Wind Cave is absolutely worth the time while you're already in the area to come stop by here and to learn something about, I think, a park that is probably the most underrated park I can think of.
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. We've been in the trip planning business for so long and in this space so long. We recognize people from the East there are so many people doing this, coming from their house on a vacation, Badlands, Mount Rushmore, Yellowstone, home. And Wind Cave is usually never in that equation.
I would say on the surface, because it's underground. I would say on the surface that Wind Cave does not look as spectacular as a lot of other things that might make your list of things to do.
Right.
Then that's why I say it is so underrated, because we've been to Wind Cave, I don't know, a bajillion times by now.
Yeah.
We've been to Wind Cave a lot, and I still am in awe of what it is and the story behind it. There's this very cool human history behind Wind Cave that I just adore. It's so interesting to me. And then you have this cave that is one of the longest caves in the world.
Yes.
It's 150 miles, so it's not even close to Mammoth Cave, but it is within the realm of Carlsbad Caverns and Jewel Cave, and kind of right in there where it's like, this is a really long and complex cave.
Oh, it's in the top 10 in the world.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so you have this cave that is just huge lengthwise, right? But then also it has a formation in it that you can hardly find anywhere else.
Yeah. It's so neat.
And it's full of it. It's like brimming to the top with this formation that even if you go over to Jewel Cave, which is less than an hour away, it's super close. Even if you go over to Jewel Cave, you're not seeing that formation there.
Which is so nuts.
And in fact, last time we were there, they were talking about the possibility of maybe Jewel Cave and Wind Cave meeting up at some point, because they are really close and they're both super long cave systems.
Right.
And it's like, how crazy is it that you don't find, it's called boxwork. I don't want to give too much away because that's going to take the sales out of the Fun Facts episode.
The Fun Facts episode is going to be awesome. But yes, boxwork is a supremely rare and unique feature.
And it's not really in Jewel Cave. It's in Wind Cave.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. That is the mecca of boxwork.
Yeah. You won't find it in Mammoth Cave. You won't find it in Carlsbad. You won't find it in Lehman Cave. You won't find it in Jewel Cave. You won't find it in so many caves. You will find it only really.
And so much
here.
of it.
Yeah. Only here in Wind Cave.
I know. So I'm obsessed, honestly. And a lot of you don't know, actually, one of my first jobs as a park ranger was giving cave tours through a local national monument that we have here in Utah. And so I love caves. I've spent so much time in a cave. giving tours through that cave and doing all the things. And I just think caves are really cool. And that cave, it's called Timpanogos Cave, is full of like the really pretty stuff. And it's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And it has stalactites and stalagmites, and it has cave lakes, and it has the bacon, and it has the popcorn, and it has the crystals, and, you know, it has all the cool stuff. And then Carlsbad Caverns is probably my favorite cave.
Yeah.
Decoration-wise.
And it has huge
how
rooms.
massive it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I have a really good just like love for caves and all those normal formations and the things you expect to see. And that's what you'll find in Jewel Cave here in South Dakota next to Wind Cave. And so I do have a lot of people who are like, Ash, why do you keep pushing people to Wind Cave? Like Jewel Cave is so much prettier. I get that comment a lot. And it's because Jewel Cave is so much prettier. It is. It has those cave formations that you would expect to see. But I think the beauty of Wind Cave is that it's rare.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you won't see anywhere else. It's something that you have to really dig deeper to appreciate. And isn't that just a cool thing? Like sometimes let's not look at the surface level beauty and let's force ourselves to go a little deeper, to think a little harder, to not base our love on first impressions. I just think it's a cool thing that like at Wind Cave, you're like standing there and you're like, I just have to think a little bit harder about why I love this.
Right. And recognize what I'm looking at right here is pretty much the only place in the world where I can see this.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it right now. I'm one of the only people in the world seeing this right now.
That's a special thing.
Yeah.
And you can't really put like, I don't know. It's a very intangible thing.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's why I love Wind Cave.
Yeah.
And that's why I would always like say, if you have to choose between Jewel Cave or Wind Cave, because I do get that question a lot too, it's like, do Wind Cave, because you're not going to see boxwork anywhere else.
Yeah.
You can go to 100 more caves and you're not going to see what you see in Wind Cave.
It's true.
In any of them.
It's true. If you have multiple days that you can dedicate to caves in the Black Hills, you know, and you can do both, awesome. You totally should do it. But if you want to have a cave experience that is pretty unique in the United States, this is the place to do it.
It is. It is. And we're going to help you get that appreciation for what you're seeing.
Right.
That's why we're here. There's so many things that I learn in the Fun Facts episodes that John does where I'm like, I didn't know that. And now I need to go back.
Right.
Because I wish I would have noticed that or known that before we went. So we're going to try to catch you here. So we'll have our exploring episode today where we walk you through the different things to do and kind of the tactical, like, here's what you need to know stuff. But make sure you catch the Fun Facts episode that's coming after this one, because that's the one that's going to add the magic into your time at Wind Cave.
Absolutely.
So let's jump in with how to actually see the cave.
Yes.
That's the most important part.
Definitely.
So, this cave does not have any self-guided options. So if you want to see the cave, you have to book a tour, a ranger-led tour. And for a park that's fairly underrated, it's surprising how fast these tours get booked up.
Right.
So if you're thinking of going to Wind Cave anytime soon and you haven't gotten tour tickets yet, make sure you go on and do that as soon as possible, because how they do it, you can get tour times in advance, tickets in advance on recreation.gov, which is the website that a lot of national parks use to make reservations. So hopefully that feels somewhat familiar to you when you go in there. But they release them 120 days in advance, and they release half the tour tickets in advance on recreation.gov. So if you can get those ones, that's ideal.
Yes, because you don't want to be the people that show up day of and just fingers crossed hope you get a ticket.
Yeah, we try to avoid that at all costs here, just because if we can plan enough in advance, then we don't have to stress about all the other stuff.
Exactly.
So you'll want to go on 120 days in advance or up to 2 days before your ticket is when you can do it online. And these aren't like glacier entrance reservations where it's like they're gone in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You will have time, so don't stress too much, but get on there, take a look at what tour times they have available, and book something up in advance if you can.
But unlike some other cave national parks, kind of like Mammoth Cave, they don't have a smorgasbord of, a zillion different kinds of cave tours. They really only have a handful.
Yeah. So there's 3 main ones that are going to give you that, quintessential cave tour experience that you're probably looking for as a first-time visitor.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to want to look at either the Garden of Eden tour, the Natural Entrance tour, or the Fairgrounds tour. And those, I listed them in order of difficulty. Mm-hmm. So your Garden of Eden tour is the shorter one with less stairs. Your Fairgrounds is the longer one with more stairs. And then you've got your nice little natural entrance one right there in the middle. So depending on who's in your group and who's coming, you're going to want to read through those descriptions and kind of see which one's going to be the best fit for you. If you have young kids and you don't want to be in the cave for very long, then I would definitely go more towards the Garden of Eden tour.
Mm-hmm.
Caves can be hard with little kids.
Yes, absolutely. Because we've been in caves with our little kids and we've been in cave tours with other people that have little kids. You're in a very confined space and you can't get out easy.
Yeah. It's a little stressful for mom and dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So sometimes you do want to keep it a little bit shorter, in which case the Garden of Eden tour is probably the one you'll want to do. I don't take that one unless I have little kids or I don't want to be in the cave very long. That one's not my favorite. It's fine. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have to be in the cave, easy and short, then I wouldn't book that one. I would go for the Natural Entrance or the Fairgrounds. Those two are better in my opinion if you're going to see the cave and you can stay longer.
Right, exactly. But they also have a couple of other cave tours that are a little bit more challenging and have smaller groups, like where you have to squeeze in through small spaces. And there's another one that is the candlelight tour.
Yeah.
That's so neat. Yeah. I love seeing caves in the dark and only by candle. It's so neat.
Yeah, so those ones, though, are special reservations. Usually you have to call the visitor center, actually, to do those because they don't do them very often. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't consider those two to be part of, like, the repertoire of cave tours, really. But just so you're aware, if you are at the cave longer and you want to do one of those, they are available. But I would start as a first-time visitor. I would start with one of the 3 main ones. And the thing is about Wind Cave is, again, kind of different from some of the other caves that you might have been in, is this cave looks fairly the same. Mm-hmm. There's not a whole lot of variety on like formations. There's not like, you're not like looking at the map going, okay, well, I definitely have to see this room or this passage or, whatever when you're in Wind Cave necessarily. And so you only need to take one of the 3. You don't need to take multiples if you don't want to.
Right. It simplifies the process quite a bit, actually.
Yeah. And so when you get on recreation.gov, if you see one of these 3 cave tours available and it still has tickets, then, get the one that makes the most sense for your group and be happy with that. Mm-hmm. You don't need to feel like you're missing out on anything if you're not able to get more than one cave tour.
Right.
So that's really nice. And then I do want to mention, they do have like a special like accessible tour or special needs tour that can be done by contacting the visitor center as well. And so that's really nice because this cave they do a really good job of getting people into the cave to see the box work.
Right.
Regardless of your ability or situation. So there's lots of options for you to just get in, see that box work and really enjoy yourself in the cave. The other thing I wanted to talk about regarding cave tours is that if you're not able to get these advance reservation tickets, they do sell them at the visitor center on the day of. They keep half of them for advanced and half of them for day of, but it's crazy how fast they go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because you can end up showing up in the morning, but you might not be able to get a tour until afternoon.
Or nothing because they book so fast.
Right, exactly.
So, if you don't get anything in advance, then you do need to plan to be at the visitor center to get those day of tickets, like right when it opens. If you wait too long, if you get there later thinking that, oh, we'll mosey on in around 11 or 12 and get a cave tour for, 1 or 2, it's like, no, those are going to be sold well in advance, especially during the summer.
Yeah.
The people who get to the visitor center early enough to get those tickets, I mean, they've been there for hours. So that surprised me, actually, how fast those day of tour tickets go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
You don't expect it because you kind of feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. Like, who else is going to be down here? And then you get there and you're like, oh, everything is taken. Great.
Yeah.
So if at all possible, don't save it for the day of. That's my main tip for getting those tour tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Don't save it for the day of. But if you must, then you need to get there when the visitor center opens.
Right. One thing that was probably worth mentioning is that the elevator that takes you down into the cave has historically had some issues. And so
big issues.
as in closed for significant periods of time.
Yeah. So with the South Dakota itinerary that I have on Dirt in My Shoes, I do weekly updates. And so I've been watching this park weekly for a few years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this is an over-exaggeration, but it feels like the elevator has been down more than it's been up in this park. And so that's another thing, John, you're right. Like, you're going to want to think about possibly a plan B to Wind Cave if they're having elevator issues.
Mm-hmm.
They shut it down for like 6 months at least, maybe longer, during the off season trying to fix the elevator. And they fixed it, and all of us were like, yay, like just in time for our summer tours and stuff. And then like 2 weeks later, it went back down. Like, oh, man.
Pretty big disappointment from a big high to a big low.
Yeah. So if you're really set on seeing a cave while you're in the Black Hills, maybe possibly have some Plan B tickets ready to go for Jewel Cave in case your Wind Cave tour gets canceled because of elevator issues.
Right.
That is a real thing, sadly. Hopefully they figure it out. And who wants to go into a cave where you're not sure if the elevator is going to be working to get you back out?
Yeah.
Try not to think about that.
Yes.
But yeah, it happens.
It does.
So let's talk about kind of what to expect on your Wind Cave tour. Just real quick, some things about the cave. So the cave is generally somewhere around 53, 54 degrees year round.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is cool, and you'll want a jacket.
It's so nice and refreshing for the first few minutes after you come out of the summer heat, though. And then you get down there and, like, if it's an hour-long tour, 30 minutes in, you're feeling a little chilly.
Yeah, it gets a little chilly in there. So bring jackets for everybody. The other thing that they'll tell you is that basically you can't bring anything with you into the cave. So they don't allow backpacks, tripods, selfie sticks, nothing like that. If you have a baby, you can carry the baby on a front carrier, but no back carriers. So keep that in mind. Again, if you're a family with young kids, caves are hard with young kids also because if they're like toddler stage or older and they want to walk for themselves, they can't touch anything.
Right.
So you're constantly like wrangling. So keep that in mind. You can't bring in like a backpacking kid carrier.
Right. And you can't bring in all of their treats either.
Yeah. Yep. No treats, no snacks, no food, no drinks, not even water, which is kind of surprising. Some caves will let you have water. This one does not. So keep that in mind as well when you're booking those cave tours. It's like, do I want to be in the cave for an hour and a half with my toddler trying to get him to stay in one spot and not touch anything and no snacks and no drinks? And,
yeah.
Keep that in mind when you're making those reservations too.
That's when like the Garden of Eden tour seems like a really
Yeah. We'll go the shortest possible tour here.
Yes, exactly.
And the way that it works, so you'll meet at the visitor center, or it will tell you some of them meet down at the elevator building, which is just down a path from the visitor center. And as I mentioned, these tours take different routes through the cave. They don't really overlap, but you are seeing a lot of the same formations.
Yeah.
So whether you leave from the elevator building or you can leave from the natural entrance tour, doesn't leave from there. It leaves from the closer to the natural entrance, which is cool. I love that.
Mm-hmm. The natural entrance is really neat.
Yeah. So anyway, just pay attention to your ticket. You'll leave there. You'll meet with the ranger. The ranger will give you some instructions and then take you through the cave and show you all the really cool box work, show you, tell you about the history of the cave, how it was founded, how it was explored, all of that good stuff, which is just perfection. It's so cool.
Oh yeah, I love the different this cave has a story to tell. And we'll tell that story in the fun facts episode. So Ash, no peeking.
I won't peek. What I will say though, last time we were there, so before we went, I was like, okay, all of our pictures and videos of Wind Cave like totally suck. So I'm going to try to get better ones this time. And I almost rolled my ankle because I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to get the box work on the ceiling. I was like kind of spinning in a circle, like this will be cool. Nope. I almost rolled my ankle and almost hurt myself real good in there. It's a hard cave to photograph and it doesn't look super impressive in photographs. You kind of got to see it with your eyes.
And that's one of the best things about it, in my opinion, is that it's not Instagrammable very
Not really,
easily. The lighting is terrible. The cameras don't usually, or your phones especially, don't pick up very much. And it's all fuzzy. It's like your third grader.
I got some good pictures in defense. I got some good ones, but I wish I would have put my camera down sooner instead of spending the whole tour trying to photograph it instead of just looking at it with my eyes and enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
So that's just another little tip for you, like maybe try to take a couple good photos while you're in there and then just put the phone away, put the camera away and just enjoy it and discover things with your eyes instead of trying to capture it all in photographs. So
yeah, because a lot of these cave passages are small. They're not very large. And so they don't photograph well, even if you did have good lighting.
Yep. So pay attention to the number of steps, the amount of time, and those really are the most important things when you're choosing a cave tour. And then just have fun and, really enjoy it. Yeah. So those are cave tours.
Yes. And I would say, so now that we're kind of coming out of the cave, the visitor center itself is pretty neat, actually. And there's some neat stuff right around the visitor center.
Yeah. So something they do virtual cave tours actually when the elevators go down. So that's an option. We've never done that because we like to actually go in the cave, but but they do that. They have a box that they built down. So down in the lower level of the visitor center is kind of like the learning and archives area of it. They have a box that you can try to fit through to see if you can go on the caving tour, their longer tour, see if you can squeeze through some of those passages. That's a little rough.
Oh, yes. Some of us that are horizontally challenged have had a hard time getting through that box.
The other thing that I think is really cool is they have the diary, the journal from Alvin McDonald, who explored the cave extensively.
Yeah.
He was a teenage kid and he wrote a really cool journal. They have the original there, which is really neat. So, it takes some time to explore the visitor center. The other thing I would say while you're here at the visitor center is to at least start the Prairie Vista Trail. It's really short. It's only about a mile loop. But if you go kind of parallel to the visitor center, where you're heading straight north from the visitor center, you'll pass by the natural entrance.
Which is worth it anyways. Even if you don't do the Prairie Vista Trail, you should at least go down to the natural entrance.
Yeah. So if you take the natural entrance tour, you'll see the natural entrance on your tour, but on the other two, you don't. And so make sure that you walk down there and see the actual natural entrance because that's how the cave got its name.
Yeah.
It breathes. This natural entrance breathes air in and out. It's so cool.
It is really neat. And we'll get into the science of why in the fun facts episode.
Yeah, but basically, depending on, the weather outside and, it's a constant temperature inside, the air will either be blowing out or sucking in to that natural entrance. And you can feel it. You can get right there and see.
Hence the name Wind Cave.
Yep. So cool. So make sure you do that. And then at the other end of the Prairie Vista Trail, you'll come down some steps. And anyway, you'll see the grave marker for Alvin McDonald. He's buried right there too. And that's another really cool thing. It's just another piece of the puzzle, piece of the story that brings the magic. So really cool to see that. So make sure you do those two things in addition to the cave tour while you're right there at the visitor center.
Right.
Okay, and then from the visitor center, John, let's head south for a minute.
Okay.
Wind Cave is a prairie national park. There's a lot of grassland. You're not as much in the really densely treed area of the Black Hills.
No.
And so there's a lot of bison here, which is so exciting.
It's so fun. You get to see all the big prairie animals that you want to see. You get to see the bison, the pronghorn, you get some elk and coyote in there, and then you get the cutest of cute little prairie dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. So we like to drive south of the visitor center to the Bison Flats area. They're along Highway 385. And you'll just drive right through it on your way down to the town of Hot Springs, that direction. And we pretty much always see something down there.
Oh, so absolutely.
It's basically a guaranteed wildlife sighting to drive down that direction.
It's the wide open spaces that we sing about, here in America.
Yeah. So that's really fun. And then driving into Hot Springs, if you want to do that. So Wind Cave National Park doesn't have any amenities. No restaurants, no lodges, nothing like that. And so Hot Springs to the south really is the closest town to the park. It's not very far, 10 minutes. 10 minutes down, you're in Hot Springs. We like to go to the Two Cows Creamery down in Hot Springs for lunch. That's delicious. And they have ice cream, so need I say more?
Exactly.
And then the other stop that we like to make down in there is the Mammoth site.
Oh, the Mammoth site. One of the premier mammoth sites in the whole world. And they just have all of these mammoths that they're uncovering them and leaving them in relief so that you can see the fossils where they've been laying for thousands of years.
Yeah, so they say that this is the world's largest mammoth research facility and one of the top fossil interpretive sites in North America.
Oh, and it deserves all of those grand titles.
It's really cool.
I have to say, it's so much fun.
They're a lot of them are halfway unearthed, just kind of coming out of the ground, out of the dirt, which is really cool. They said they've found over 60 mammoths.
Which is amazing.
3 woolly mammoths and 58 Columbian mammoths.
Oh, and the difference between Columbian mammoths, woolly mammoths, and modern elephants, they have scales to show you. They have pictures.
Sizes, yeah.
It's amazing. You get to see how big these creatures really were.
Yeah, well, and what's cool too is in addition to the mammoths, they also have uncovered other Ice Age creatures there that you can learn more about too. So,
so much fun.
You're talking the sloths and the what else is there? The cats, the saber-toothed cats and stuff like that, kind of all that time frame is what this fossil site is uncovering. So really cool stop if you're into fossils. And if you're really into fossils, you actually can spend time with a paleontologist and go in and dust some bones off and stuff.
Do some of the work yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, so that's a really fun stop. So we don't typically stay in Hot Springs. Hot Springs is a little further south than I like to be for my Black Hills vacation because usually Wind Cave is not the destination in and of itself. You're in this area to see lots of different things. So it's a little bit further from the other things that we typically like to do, like Mount Rushmore and Deadwood and Badlands, stuff like that. It's a little far south for us. And so we don't usually stay in Hot Springs, but we do like to drive down there for a few hours when
Yeah.
we're already down there at Wind Cave.
Yep, totally worth it. And that's what's south. That's the south. But the north has had a lot of cool stuff too.
Yeah, so heading back, we're driving back up past the visitor center, up to Highway 87. I wish I could show you on a map, but you can look at the map on the National Park Service website. But Highway 87 is beautiful. It's a little bit, of a snake through the prairie.
Yeah, you'll find that there are a lot of roads through the Black Hills that are meant to be scenic and slow. And this one is a little bit more that way compared to like the 385.
Yeah.
But this one is beautiful. It takes you through a little bit more wooded area.
You almost always see prairie dogs right here around the junction of 385 and 87 as you're trying to head north.
Yeah.
We see lots of prairie dogs out here, so that's fun.
I love prairie dogs. When they bark and they communicate with each other, they're so cute. And I don't even like to use that word. I like
Our youngest son likes all things cute, all things baby and small, and
I know
it drives John crazy, but
I like
he loves those prairie dogs so
they're
much.
They're so fun. They're so cool.
Oh, so yeah, we always are on the lookout for prairie dogs as we're driving up here. And then this road has my favorite trail in the park, and that's the Rankin Ridge Trail.
Mm-hmm.
This trail is just a little bit over a mile. It doesn't gain much elevation. It's like 230 feet of elevation, and you're making your way up the hill. There's a lookout tower up there. You can't climb the lookout tower, but you do have just a really gorgeous view of the area.
Mm-hmm.
And on clear days, you can see all the way out to Badlands, which is cool.
And from this high vantage point, it's so beautiful, the landscape around you, because you get the hills topped by the ponderosa pines and the rolling meadows, and there's often lots of flowers, and it's just a really beautiful landscape. The best of the best from Dances with Wolves.
And what's nice about hiking in Wind Cave, I think, is nobody does it. so I love this one because you're in the trees. Last time I did it, there was a bison on the trail blocking the way. He was just hanging out, which was really fun. It was a really cool experience to be that close to the wildlife and to feel like I had the trail to myself.
Mm-hmm. Minus the 1,500-pound bison.
Right. And I gave him lots of space because he scared me. But, sometimes when you're in the Black Hills, there's a lot of people. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of places that are really busy. And it's really hard to avoid crowds sometimes. And I feel like Wind Cave, just taking the time to go down there and spend a few hours touring the cave and then doing some of the surface activities and hiking Rankin Ridge, it's like I can just breathe out here.
Mm-hmm.
It slows the whole pace of the trip for a minute, and it's just like, oh yeah, nature.
Oh, absolutely.
This is what I should be feeling.
and it really is beautiful. And like the Native Americans thought that the Black Hills were kind of a really special and sacred place to them. And like hikes like the Rankin Ridge really illustrate that very well.
Yeah, you just get to feel that peace and solitude. So I highly recommend, spending a few hours outside of the cave and just taking in the solitude of Wind Cave just in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. And with the South Dakota itinerary on dirtinmyshoes, I show you how to fit Wind Cave into your overall schedule because there's a lot of moving parts when you're in the Black Hills. It's like, do I have time to sit and enjoy the peace here? And my answer is yes. And I will show you how.
Yes.
Just to give you some of those breathing spaces that I think sometimes we forget to value when we're making these trip plans. It's like you need some breathing space. You need to let nature fill your soul. That's the whole point, right? So anyway, so I do recommend if you have a little bit of extra time, find a trail. I love Rankin Ridge because it's not a huge time commitment, but it gives you that peace and solitude.
Right. Well, while we're right up here too, though, it connects, or at least gives you the option to connect to some NPS dirt roads that give me a little bit of that. I'm excited to be in nature feel because it's NP5 and NP6 right off the highway there on your way up to Custer State Park. And those roads in particular, we always seem to find herds of buffalo instead of just, several buffalo.
Yeah, that's where the herds are hanging out, man.
I love it.
Nobody knows about these roads. They are dirt roads. Usually they're in good condition. You do need to check at the visitor center, though, because last time we drove, they were not in good condition.
Yeah, that was rough.
They were rough, but we've driven these roads a lot of times, and that was by far the worst they've ever been. So usually they're really well maintained dirt roads, and you don't feel like you're going to get stuck in a rut. But it's just like, it's wide open space. And we sat there for a while. We watched prairie dogs this last time. I was trying to photograph one, and they were not cooperating. So the boys and John just sat on the tailgate of the truck and watched them and listened to them. And I'm like, stupid things. Why won't you show me your face? And
oh my gosh. Well, because when they bark, they literally like throw their arms up totally over the back, over their head.
It's like they're doing a back bend, the start of a back bend kind of. And it's so cute. And I really wanted another picture like
I know, but they're so hard to get because you never know when they're going to do it.
I know. And they hated me that day. They were not happy I was there. So, but moral of the story is we ended up hanging out along those dirt roads for a while, just sitting, watching the prairie dogs. There's a couple times we stopped because I was just like, flowers. I love the flowers. We just pull over, John. I want to look at the flowers. And then we, there's a little stream that goes through, and we sat and watched a herd of buffalo for a while next to the stream. It was just so idyllic. It was so beautiful. And I think we saw 2 other cars over like a couple hours of hanging out in the Wind Cave backcountry.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
And if Wind Cave is an underdog in this area, even the dirt roads are the underdog of the underdog.
Yeah.
And so it's just, there's lots of opportunity in this park for solitude.
Yeah. And we love going into, so what's nice about these roads is, so you can take Highway 87, the main highway past Rankin Ridge, straight up into Custer State Park. Custer State Park is really cool. It's a beautiful state park. It's national park level status. Like, it's amazing. And so you're definitely going to want to spend some time there. And again, I'll show you how to fit that in with your itinerary and what the most important things are to do in there that you're going to want as a first-time visitor. But so you can either go straight up Highway 87 from Wind Cave into Custer State Park, or you can take these dirt roads and you can cut over through the Wind Cave backcountry, go see the bison, go see the prairie dogs, go see the flowers, and then cut straight up again on the other dirt road, NP6, right up into Custer State Park.
Oh,
so it's perfect. I mean, it's perfectly set up to then begin your adventure up through the state park and then working your way even further north into the Black Hills with Mount Rushmore and Deadwood and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's a beautiful national park that is so severely underrated. There's magic everywhere in this park.
Yes.
And the feeling of it is so peaceful and lovely, and just you have so much breathing room out here. And I think it encompasses the feeling of like that sacredness of the Black Hills.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And if you want to experience and explore all that the Black Hills really has to offer, go listen to our other episode, the Exploring the Black Hills episode 29. It's a great way. We walk you through a lot of different points of interest in this area. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's just, there's so many things that you can spend half a day, a full day, here and there all around the Black Hills.
Yeah. And get the South Dakota itinerary from dirtinmyshoes. We'll link both of these things in the show notes here, because if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the things to do, I will show you exactly what we like to do, how we spend our time, even which Wind Cave tour is my favorite.
Yep.
Because I do have a favorite. All of that is in the itinerary, but we'll make sure that you see just so many amazing things in the Black Hills, and then help you find pockets of quiet and solitude too, which I think is really important.
It is. Especially if you're like coming from places like Mount Rushmore where you just, there's people everywhere.
Yeah, but we can get you solitude at Mount Rushmore too.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. I was going to say there's people all around you and people on the faces on the mountains, but
yeah, you literally are surrounded.
But there are great ways, and that itinerary is the perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
To get the solitude.
And just another reminder, come back for the fun facts episode for Wind Cave coming up next, because, the logistical stuff that we talked about today, that's not the heart of Wind Cave.
Yeah.
The heart of Wind Cave is the spirit of exploration and just rare beauty that you have to dig a little deeper to find.
Right.
So we want to talk about that in depth in that fun facts episode, and we hope you'll join us on that as well.
Yeah. And on that note, our task for today really is, we just want to ask you if you've been to Wind Cave and if you loved it as much as we did. And I want to see some of your pictures, because I want to compare them to ours, because it is a very difficult national park to photograph. And so go to the Dirt in My Shoes Facebook and Instagram pages. We'll have a post up there that you can comment on and share your experience, and hopefully share your photos.
Yes, but if you want to try to talk me into loving Jewel Cave more than Wind Cave, it's a hopeless cause. You can't do it. So feel free to leave those comments, but I will not be swayed. I love Wind Cave.
She's pretty set in her ways, guys.
I am.
But I also totally agree with her. And so, but yes, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're enjoying the podcast, please give us a 5-star review. We love hearing from you. It helps the podcast. And we can't wait to see you out on the trail.